Quite frankly, the amount of time and energy it takes to manage horses is not worth it. And so I was thinking to myself, like, how do I automate my horse world? Do you have a competitive horse? And if you're on this channel, chances are the answer is yes. Now, I do 3-day eventing, but there is also show jumping, dressage, Western riding. All of these things require hard work for your horse. I've been making this video series about, I had a question for myself. How could I automate my horse world? And I already had the answer to that because I already automate my horse world. And that's what this video series is about. It is about Amazon Subscribe and Save. And these are all of the horse recovery products that I have coming automatically on Subscribe and Save. Not only saving time, but saving money as well. Because when you have 5 items coming, which is why I'm doing 5 items per video, when you have 5 items coming in a month, you save 15%. So not only are you going to save yourself time having to go to the store, but you're going to save yourself money by having these things coming regularly. And in addition to that, I can't even tell you how much energy I've saved from just not having to think about, oh, I forgot that, or oh, I need more of that. Like, you don't have to think about that stuff anymore. It just automatically comes. So the only thing you have to do is set up a recurring timeline of how often you need these things. All right, so these are my 5 products that I buy regularly for my horse's health and recovery. Number 1 is Corona Liniment. Now, every person has their own preference on liniments, but I have actually a very funny story about Corona. So I use Corona Liniment after I gallop my horses and after I jump and things. It helps with just their tendon and joint health. So I was limping because I had fallen off of a horse, and so I had just finished putting liniment on my horse, and I was limping and I was trying to get up to the car, but I couldn't even walk. And I looked down and I was just like, fuck it. If it's good enough for the horse, it's good enough for me. And so that night I went home, put Corona Liniment on my foot, and the next day, whereas the day before I could barely walk, the next day I got up and I could walk. I'm not saying it was completely healed. However, the difference that just one night of Corona Liniment made was insane. And so what ended up happening was 2 things. One, I now use Corona Liniment every time I'm the least bit sore or injured or anything. But the second thing is, after feeling for myself how well it worked, it really solidified my belief that when I'm putting it on my horse's legs, it's also helping him recover. And that is really the important part. So, Corona Liniment, I have that stuff coming every month because my horse gallops and jumps every week. So it's definitely something that helps him keep his joints happy and healthy. So the second one is APF Pro. Now, APF Pro, I have seen APF Pro work miracles, but when it comes to recovery, especially in 3-day eventing after cross country, APF Pro is unparalleled. One of the things with horses is kind of hard is, like, for Corona, the second point I made was that by feeling in myself the difference it made me confident in the difference I'm making for my horse. So the thing about APF Pro, so it's hard to know if you can, because you can't really always see the results. The one thing I will say about APF Pro is it makes their coats really shiny. And so I'm like, well, I can see that, right? Like, you can see that. So it's one of those things, I have seen it do miracles when it comes to recovery from really hard workouts, but also when you use it daily, like, you just notice your horse's coat is really shiny. So while they can't tell you whether they like it or not or how much it's helping, there are visible things you can see about it that, let's be real, make it worth the bang for the buck. So APF Pro is number 2. Number 3 is Ice Tight 24-hour Poultice. Now, I poultice after I gallop, and I personally just put the poultice on and then I don't wrap him. I just leave the poultice on by itself. Now, however you recover from your conditioning days is totally up to you. But if you use poultice, I really like the Ice Tight 24-hour Poultice, and I have it coming regularly so I don't have to think about running out because it just comes auto-magically. So the next one is Cosequin, is a Cosequin joint supplement. So this is one that I put in his grain bags, and I will say that with my horse's joints as he gets older, it's something that you definitely notice. And he's always been a little bit like a diesel truck, like he takes a minute to warm up, but when it comes to feeding Cosequin versus not feeding Cosequin. So I have run out of Cosequin before, right? So I was feeding him Cosequin-less food, and I have noticed a difference when he is getting it versus when he is not getting it. And so Cosequin is one that I have coming every 2 months, but it's definitely one that I have noticed helps with my horse's joint health, especially if you have a horse that's doing upper level eventing. Between all the workout days that they have to do, it's nice to know that I'm helping his body manage the workload as best as I can. So number 4 is Cosequin joint supplement. And then number 5 is electrolytes. Now, the key to any sort of recovery is hydration. And electrolytes are the best way to make sure that your horse is thirsty and also that they are absorbing the water that they drink. So, and side note, actually, I will say that I'm going to add this one in here, which is not on Subscribe and Save, but it is one that it's a trick I have to make my horse drink more water. So the electrolytes I put in the food, but the trick I have to helping my horse drink more water is I take a scoop of beet pulp, and it's just a scoop. Like, it's not enough to even be food. It's just a scoop. And then I fill the bucket with warm water, and it basically makes it into beet pulp tea. And what it really means is that I make my horse flavored water. So while I can't like put buckets and buckets of this water out in his stall, I do one of like those big feed bin buckets, and I can guarantee that he's at least drinking one full bucket of water a day. And I used to do it all the time just in the winter, because when the water's cold, horses don't want to drink water, so it was a great way to keep him hydrated in the winter. But then he was drinking them every day, so now I do it year round. But it's a great way to keep your horse hydrated. These are 5 things that I have on Amazon Subscribe and Save to keep my horse's recovery plan in motion, and I do not have to think about going to the store or running out of things because they just automatically come as I need them. And at the end of the day, even if you don't use the same products that I use, think about the horse products that you use regularly and ones that you get really frustrated when you run out of them and you forget to buy more. They're probably on Amazon Subscribe and Save. Hope this has helped, and if you want, I also made videos about horse food that I have regularly coming, as well as horse care and horse medications. So if you want to check out any of those videos, those are linked below, because quite frankly, the amount of time and energy it takes to manage horses is not worth it. And so Subscribe and Save can help you automate a lot of that stuff. And the reason I'm making these videos is because on my other channel, The Business Cowgirl, I help businesses to set up efficient and effective tech infrastructure so that their businesses run smoothly and they don't have to think about every step of the way. And so I was thinking to myself, like, how do I automate my horse world? And this was it. But what's funny is I was already doing this. So I just wanted to share with you guys and hopefully save you guys some hours in your day.